All right, guys. Thanks everyone for joining here in the TennisONE app today. We are doing Gear Talk with our friends from Tennis Point, our new sponsor of our summer series for this summer. We have 5 of the 8 US Open Series tournaments that are going to be in app, and these guys are nice enough to support us along the way. So great to have them in to talk about all the latest gear for this summer in terms of tennis rackets. And I know you guys have a few other things going on. I've been hearing a lot about this Team Yellow tour. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about that before we get into the gear?
Definitely, yeah. So the Team Yellow Tour has been a something that's been in the works for about a year now. We knew when we came into the U.S. market at this point, we needed to kind of make a punch in the market and kind of make a name for ourselves. And I don't think there's any way better to do it than to kind of get out in the field and interact with these kids and these coaches and these parents and their families and kind of just go out and support them, hype up these events with content, bring the latest uh, packets to demo, bring some string for them to test out. We're even bringing shoes and hats and other stuff that they can check out as well to our tent. And we bring a team of 3 of us to travel all throughout the Midwest this year. And it's just been a lot of fun to get these tournaments that have 240 kids. The last 3 have had, yeah, well over 200 kids. And just the feedback we've got has been a lot of fun. We've had partners with Babolat, Yonex, Head so far on this early ongoing with our tour. And it's been a big success so far, and I think we can just keep improving it and keep scaling it, and hopefully we can make an impact in the grassroots junior tennis world.
Yeah, absolutely. By the way, guys, that's Nate Walroth on your left. On your right was Dave Limke. I'm Patrick Kuhle for Tennis One. Nate, can you tell me where can people find you? Which tournaments are these? Are these ITA summer events? Which events are these?
Yeah, so we just signed with the ITA team about 4 months ago, 5 months
Few
ago.
months ago, yeah, it
Yeah.
became official June 1st. We're the official
Yep.
retail partner of the ITA now, so that's what these are. These events are all part of the ITA summer circuit. So
Yeah.
Okay.
There's also circuits events with the ITA. We've been to Hilton Head, we've been to Notre Dame, we've been to Northwestern. This weekend we'll be in Michigan State at East Lansing. The following weekend we'll be in Knoxville at the University of Tennessee, and we try to stop at a local club at all these cities to kind of interact with the camper or clinic going on at one of these nice clubs in these cities. And yeah, then we're hosting our own tournament August 6th and 7th. It'll be a completely different format than what we're seeing out there. I think it'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be a team event. It's going to be enter the event with your partner, play a set to 6 against another duo, and then you break off and play singles, fast sets to 4, no ad scoring like we see in the college game, and it's a lot of fun, excitement. I feel like there's more upsets in that format because you don't have the constant add deuce. You just get right to it. You get to
Yeah.
pick your side where you want to defend that ad point or that break point. And yes, it's really cool. We'll have music, we'll have prize money, we'll have some giveaways. So we're really excited for that. And then that'll take us right into the Western and Southern, and then the U.S. Open will be here before we know it.
Yeah,
believe it or not,
absolutely. Well, a lot of that's right. It's coming up quick. So fast format stuff, a lot of energy. I guess that just depends who can start quicker and who can handle the pressure better. So sounds a lot of fun. Do you guys want to talk gear? It looks like you have some string out there and some rackets. Maybe you want to start with the string.
Yeah,
with
perfect.
the string, because yeah, you were getting some interesting feedback out in the college world. High level players, everybody's using poly, right? And you were kind of picking everybody's brain, like what they're playing with, even though they love, a Bala racket, a head racket, Wilson racket, whatever. I think we were seeing kind of some common themes on the string side. Why don't you
Yeah,
tell me
there's.
what you were seeing?
I think the interesting thing for me is I've always used a Babolat racket and a Babolat string, and then until recently I've started using some Yonex string and some Hyper G and mixing it up, just so I can test other rackets or test other strings. And you're seeing this in the college game. It's like there's no allegiance with these guys to a certain brand with the string. They're gonna pick whatever suits their game and whatever they're comfortable with. I would say the 2 of the most popular polyesters that we've seen by far are Solinko's Hyper G and Babolat's RPM Blast. This is the exclusive RPM Blast with Tennis Point. It's pretty cool colorway in blue. I know Dave is equally excited for this. As it's kind of like our own. So
Nobody else has it. Yeah.
if you want to find blue
Yeah.
RPM Black, you got to come to us at Tennis Point, and you can get fitted up in one of those pure Ralphas with this beautiful colorway of RPM Blast blue.
But it's
Yeah.
just
Nice.
it's all polyester. I mean, the college players, hitting the heck out of the ball, tons of spin. We need something that's going to hold up. There's nobody using multi filaments. A little bit of hybrid here and there, but it's really pretty much all polyester from what Nate's telling. Much to the stringers' disdain, because it's definitely a little harder on your hands to got a bunch of polyester rackets. But nevertheless, that's what the modern game requires. So we make sure we have
Yeah.
it. Comes in a bunch of gauges. Definitely seeing 16 gauge, a little bit of 16 light. But that tends to be the preference for the better player. You start getting thinner than that, and you just start popping it too much. So
Shout out to Salenko. What Salenko did with these juniors at a young age, kind of seeded it out when they were in their young teenage years, and it's just kind of you see these players get comfortable with the string, and they're using it all the way until they get to that. I mean, you'll see 13, 14 UTR guys using this, so it's the highest of the levels out there. Still using Hyper G. It's got a great price point, and it's a very high quality, durable string.
and it does seem to translate to sales too. It's not like they're just floating a bunch of free product out there and then nobody ever buys it because they all think they just get it for free. It does translate to sales,
Mhm.
so it's worked really well. I think a lot of other companies are trying to figure out how to do it the same way they do. So, but yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, definitely great grassroots from those guys. Just for our listeners that maybe don't know a ton about tennis string, so there's really two types of tennis string. One is multi-filament and one is monofilament. And multi-filament is kind of where tennis used to be with the whole natural gut. Back in the day, that's what everybody used. And then there were kind of synthetic gut strings that came along. But then about 25 years ago, some of the pros started using this monofilament or polyester string that is, it's much tougher. And so you can basically get a lot more spin with it. And as people started to hit harder, they've had to use more spin to control the ball. And so monofilament has really taken off. A lot of players will use all monofilament through, all polyester in the mains and crosses, but some players do half and half. So they'll put, some of the multi-filament or synthetic. Awesome. Well, thanks for going through some of that string. It looks like you guys have a shoe there. Is that's another exclusive shoe?
So this one is, yeah, this is something we worked on with Wilson last year, and it's a heritage model. So it's called the Rush Pro. This happens to be the Rush Pro 3.0, but this is a shoe we did really, really well with in previous iterations. And they came to us and said, hey, if you guys would like to do a colorway in that, what would it be? Well, we knew the new Clash was coming out, so Clash V2 came out last March, and we're like, it'd be great to have a shoe that really hooks with that. So we got them to create this for us, and we got the little Clash kind of triangle call out there, if you can see that. Colorway obviously hooks with kind of the anodized red of the racket, so just kind of an interesting story there, and nobody else has it. So just kind of cool to be able to step in and. They want you to buy in some volume, so we buy the volume required to get it made. But just kind of cool to have something that's your own. It's a really comfortable shoe. It's very durable. It's got an outsole warranty. With high levels of play. This was their top of the line model from last year. They've now got a brand new version, but we like what this is because we know what it is. We know what it did. We knew it fit a lot of people. So I know the guys have been wearing these out on the grassroots tour too, just trying to spread the word a little bit. But yeah, Rush Pro 3.0 is technically the name of it, but this colorway is exclusive to Tennis Point, so pretty cool to have it.
It's got the upper mesh, so it's very breathable. Like the breathability on it is very good.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the 40 support structure, so you trust it when you're sliding for the aggressive movers that are counting on their shoe to kind of hold up through some.
Kind of goes all the way through there.
Exactly. Yep. So it's something that you can trust on the court. A lot of people slide on the hard courts these days, and this is a shoe you can rely on to take you through the hard court season this summer.
And most importantly, it's in stock. Unlike
It's in stock. Yeah.
The supply chain struggles were really bad in the footwear side and the tennis ball side. So I kind of joke about that. That is getting better, but yeah, thankfully we're able to say it's in stock. We were supposed to get this thing last November, and we got it in I think late May. So it was delayed by almost 6 months, but. That's getting better, but yeah, just like with a lot of things these days, the supply chain is a struggle. So
Dave's tired of that word, supply chain. I guess.
Yeah. I think we're all tired of it, right? But it's a reality, so that's how it goes. How do you guys decide on what product you're going to do for each brand with some of these unique colorways? You've got this string with Babolat, the shoes with Wilson. Do they suggest it? Do you suggest it? How do you kind of go about that?
it's a collaboration. I mean, typically it's going to be something that's high volume, that's got heritage, recognition, that you feel safe with. You've had success with it. Typically, you're not going to do it on something that's brand new, kind of untested, because there's usually a volume commitment to it. You want to make sure that you're gonna sell through it in a reasonable time frame. So yeah, usually it's stuff that is going to be a home run. Like, oh, that's a great product. Oh, wait, we get to create our own color. Well, that's even better. It just kind of adds to the kind of excitement around it. So yeah, most of the things we've done this with, we've not done a million of these, but we are kind of being pulled into the global family now at Tennis Point. We've got access to some more things now that maybe we didn't previously when we were just Midwest Sports. So it's cool to be a part of that, though, and been around this long enough that I can kind of smell a dog before we get into something that we shouldn't buy.
Yeah.
The young guys, I mean, really, I love playing. I don't play as much as I used to, but from the business side of it, knowing what's going to sell, I feel pretty good about that. And then we talk with our young guys that are out playing and play testing every day, and girls. I'm saying guys in a general sense. That just get the feedback and hey, what do you think? So we kind of bounce it off our team before we pull the trigger on anything. But yeah.
No, we didn't bring it here, but we actually just launched an exclusive collection with Lucky in Love. It's a beautiful collection of girls. I think it's like it really pops on the court. We got pink and yellow in it, and like a really pretty white. I mean, I just shot some modeling pictures with it, and I thought it was really cool. So if there's any girls out there checking it out, we have an exclusive collection with Lucky in Love.
Yeah, pick your spots. I mean, it's not like we're going to range a ton of footwear, a bunch of rackets, a bunch of string. I mean, you kind of pick select things and you try to kind of dial that in. And it's easier to market that way too. And we'll look to build on that. But yeah, it's pretty cool to be able to be a part of these kind of things with some of the different brands.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thanks for going into that. It's really interesting. It looks like you guys have a few rackets. Should we talk about the rackets here?
We kind of picked out some of the hot sellers. I think the common theme with all of these is that they're extremely versatile, which is important for it's a broad spectrum of player types. That this isn't these aren't necessarily rackets you're going to see on tour, but you might. I mean, you can see Roth here. We've got named. So players endorse these models. We're going to say the ones they use on tour are probably, but versatility is the important thing. So
I will say shout out to Darren Cahill for dropping a good. He did say Nick Kyrgios is on his racket off the shelf and just uses the stock model. So Nick Kyrgios just went to the Wimbledon finals with this giant E-zone right here.
And nobody should be surprised by that because Kyrgios kind of does whatever he wants. So, but yeah, if we just kind of run through these in no particular order, again, the common theme with all of these is they're super versatile, work for a lot of player types, no matter which one of these families you're looking at, whichever brand. Weights, you may have a head size variation.
Hey guys, it looks like you're cutting in and out a little bit here. I'm not sure. Hey guys, maybe is it possible to check the connection on the phone for a second? I'm not sure if it reconnected to Wi-Fi or it's kind of cutting in and out. Sorry about that.
How about now?
Any better?
Okay.
Better or worse?
It sounds like it's gonna be better. It was what you were saying was kind of cutting in and out. But yeah, it seems like it'll work now.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so just to kind of summarize, I think I picked up what you guys were saying, but basically you're talking about the different rackets and how a lot of these models are actually very versatile. And while some of them are endorsed by the pro players, these are actually rackets that when you go out and hit with it, you're going to have a good experience. This isn't sometimes it can be hard to use the racket that a top pro uses, right? So that's what these models kind of are. But then Nate, you said Kyrgios actually uses the racket right off the shelf.
Yeah, so Kyrgios, he grabs his racket just like the rest of us do at your tennis shop. Hopefully, it's shopping with Tennis Point, being part of Team Yellow. But yeah, like this is a versatile collection. You've got the E-Zone, which is probably more known for power. You've got the Pure Aero Raffle, which is more known for spin. You've got the Clash, which is a great racket, which it's one of the best all-around rackets on the market. Good for beginners all the way to intermediate players. And then you got the latest head racket with the head boom. You guys have seen Coco Gauff be kind of the face of this in the initial year of it. You got Lorenzo Musetti, the young Italian, as well using this. This is a great power stick as well with a little bit more control than I think I initially thought it was going to have. But the freedom of swing, like your swing, just feels so free with this racket, and the ball really gets to the baseline pretty easily with this boom. So.
Yeah,
nice.
Kind of dial it in with each one of the spectrum of weights. even some head size options with each of these, but that's ultimately up to the consumer to kind of get down either with their teaching pro, like I said, or giving us a call. We can kind of help walk you through. Got a full demo assortment for all these too, so you can kind of see what works exactly for you. But all these sell very well for us. It's kind of neat of most of these brands' lines. These are kind of the best-selling families, so you can tell them apart from one another. So,
no, yeah. If you guys have any questions on a racket or a weight or string or anything, we have a great customer service team. We've got our social team is always active on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever. So if there's any questions, we try to get to all of them and make sure we get an answer that's fit for you. And I know our guys are very well trained, and I think we also have some of the best stringers in the country with how fast they're pumping out rackets. I know they're busy today, but
Prime Day.
Dave was out recruiting stringers from anywhere he could.
Yeah, well, Prime Day and just coming off of Wimbledon, so everybody's jazzed up about tennis middle of the summer. Could you guys? You have the Rafa racket there, and then the Yonex racket with Kyrgios, two guys that have made it pretty far recently in Wimbledon. I'm curious. A lot of people kind of think, oh, Roger, Rafa, Serena. These are really the only pros that sell rackets. But did you guys see during Wimbledon in terms of? I'm sure Rafa's racket was selling pretty well, but like the racket Kyrgios uses, for example, did you guys see any kind of spike in numbers there?
I don't think it hurts. I do think there's some truth to that. The days of the iconic player that really just their association with it gets people to buy it sight unseen. I think right now the tour presence is really more to legitimize it as a racket that can be used at the highest level. But in terms of the personality actually selling the racket, I think those days are probably waning a little bit. I mean, I think it still helps. Yes, those iconic players still probably.
I mean, Roger
probably helps. Yes.
Roger still sells pro staffs just based on the fact that it has his initials in the racket. Pure Aero Rafa, obviously, being a part of that racket now is going to push his. But I mean, the other ones, I think Dave made a good point. I think that's more just for the credibility of the racket itself. But yeah, I mean, Naomi Osaka, I don't know what she's.
It's hard to bank on a lot of them. I mean, you think about those iconic players you referenced before with Roger, Rafa, Serena, Novak. They were extremely consistent for a long, long time. So these brands could really bank on them having consistent results, playing a ton of tournaments a year, always being on court. Now, I mean, I think we can all agree that a lot of these players, their results are kind of spotty here and there. I'm not going to name any names, but just different player, one of the grand, especially so I think that iconic player that just like dominates year after year after year. Once these, and they're not playing as much anymore, I just think you're going to have kind of a different list of players that are winning these big tournaments.
And Novak he's selling the speed for sure. I mean that racket is a staple in the junior market as well as the advanced kind of tour futures market as well. So I mean, yeah, once the big three is gone, I'd be interested to see where the name recognition kind of fits in on the sales part of things, and kind of how they decide to put whose face goes on the cards and stuff. But yeah, I thought it was interesting. Babolat on their new Pure Aero, they have Felix Auger-Aliassime kind of being the face of it more so than Rafa. Rafa's kind of in the background of it. Carlos is the one that's kind of. I thought Carlos might get more of a header on it. He's kind of like the right wing of Kuhle. So all normal kind of who they think can be good in the future because these things are done a year plus in advance on who they kind of want to market. So obviously the rise of Carlos happening. It's hard for them to kind of just pivot real quick and make him the face of the upcoming Pure Aero VS or whatever he actually uses.
I think it's safe to bet that on the next Headcard, we'll be seeing Carlos on there.
I think that's a good business decision.
We can pretty much tell you that's happening. We just can't officially say
it.
But
yeah, exactly. Awesome.
You got things like the Clash, which really is not about tour presence with this. I mean, you can see there's really no player graphics or anything on it. I mean, part of that's Wilson's kind of minimalist bent to their design language, but this is not a racket you're really going to see on tour. But it sells because of the technology behind it. First generation was around for 3 years, was always one of the top selling rackets in the marketplace, but just really revolutionary from a technology standpoint. Now, how do they refresh that every 2 or 3 years? That's going to be a challenge for them, but the paint's really cool on it, so it does play nicely. But that's a good example of a racket that's kind of selling on the merits of the technology, the way it plays, as opposed to a ATP WTA tour endorsement angle, which most of the others have. So
And it's eco-friendly. It's got some biodegradable Agiplast grommets, I believe. That's the story
Sure.
on it. So I think that's cool. Dave's not as intrigued by
Yeah.
it,
It's fine.
but to
Hey,
me,
anything helps, right? Anything helps.
You know, yeah, every little angle you can put out there, that's all good. It's not a bad thing. I think it's a little bit of a stretch, but that's okay. That's my
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, guys, thanks for joining us here on Gear Talk. We appreciate you running through all the latest stuff. We'll have this in the app afterwards for anybody that maybe joined late, so you can kind of see what was at the beginning of the show. But unless you guys got anything else, we'll let you get back to your day here.
no, you guys, we love the TennisONE app. I'm on it every day, kind of checking the scores around the tour and just kind of other news that you guys put out there with interviews and other things. And I think you guys are crushing it. So I'm glad we can be partners with you guys, and looking forward to see what we can do going forward.
There's one more question. Best show in 2022
Uh,
from the audience.
I know my answer.
The ones in stock. I'm just.
Um,
I mean, that's kind of how we feel. We felt a lot of times for the first half of the year. I mean, you can go for your.
I would say
I'll go for mine.
a sleeper pick. I mean, I could go with just one of the generic ones that's very popular, but I'll say a sleeper pick that's worth checking out would be the Yonex Fusion Rev 4. We actually have a partner known as the Foot Doctor. I don't know if you guys are aware of him, but he does great work on YouTube. He's on social media as well, and he does reviews. He's actually a foot doctor that plays tennis, and he said that I was like, make sure this shoe is as good as I think it is, and he said the Fusion Rev 4 is some of the best rubber that he's tested on the court. So that, and then I think the Barricade. And the Barricade 12th edition is back on the market, and that's a shoe that I really trust and have always trusted since like the beginning of the Barricade. So those two for me are probably favorites.
Yeah, I think Nike Vapor.
Murray's wearing it too.
Yep.
Yeah. Nike Vapor Pro. That's continued to be kind of Nike's hallmark. Vapor's always been a solid franchise for them, and that's done really well. What's been interesting though is to see the emergence of some shoes because of the supply chain issues with some of the bigger brands. There were some other brands that kind of snuck in there, and maybe you could say some of it's availability, and maybe they won because we had them and others were out. But I do think there's some really solid stuff out there from Mizuno.
Yep.
They did a Wave Exceed 5, really nice shoes, super lightweight, really durable too. And then Diodora introduced the B Icon. That was a new one for 2022. Italian workmanship, super high quality, really comfortable.
And we got shut out.
Both of those were kind of sleepers, but maybe they kind of succeeded a little bit because there were some gaps from some of the other brands, but still really solid models nonetheless. Saw great sales on both of those too.
And shout out to TCU Horned Frog and Wimbledon semifinalist Cam Norrie, repping the K-Swiss Ultra Shot 3. That's another shoe that I like a lot. It's a very durable, high performance shoe. K-Swiss has just been making noise, and I think the Ultra Shot 3 is their best shoe that maybe they've ever made. And they've had the best colorways in a shoe that they've probably ever had. So I think that's another shoe that if you guys are looking for a shoe this summer that can hold up, go to the Ultra Shot 3.
Agree. Good one.
Yeah, definitely good call on the K-Swiss for sure. All right, guys. Thanks so much for running through everything with us. It's been great, and yeah, like I said at the beginning, we definitely appreciate the support of Tennis Point. So, and you guys make our app even better. So, yeah, we appreciate it.
Anytime, glad to do it.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate you guys for having us, and we'll be in touch soon. And thanks for everybody for tuning in.